Bitcoin has been down 9% over the last week. Ethereum has been down over 11% for the last week. And Binance Coin is down almost 5.5% for the last week. And there's something very important going on this week that will potentially impact the crypto markets and especially Bitcoin and Ethereum. How's it going, guys? I'm Cody, and I'm here to give you some fantastic news and fantastic metrics, and especially when we talk about our crypto chart TA, I'm going to point out some very important levels, both supports and resistances, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts overall on the crypto market. Now, before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Definitely appreciate that, and follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information. So first off, with Bitcoin has come down a little bit here in the past couple of days. We've seen 3 days in a row of strong selling pressure. Now, I said with Bitcoin that we could potentially wind up seeing this the support here at 29K hold. That did not hold. And the next level of support was going to be down here at about 27,000. And this 27,000 support right now has held, and buyers have stepped in order to push the price a little bit higher. Now, when it comes down to Bitcoin, this level right here, this 27,000 level, is incredibly important because if it breaks this support has been established ever since the 17th of March. So this support's been in place for about a month now. And if Bitcoin breaks the support level, then the uptrend or the local uptrend will be gone at that point. And that could have huge implications for Bitcoin in the short term. And there are many events coming up this week that I want to go ahead and talk about that could impact both Bitcoin and the crypto markets, and potentially, if it doesn't turn out well, could actually cause it to push under this support level. So first off, what we have here is the earnings whisper numbers, specifically the releases that are going on this week, and it's mostly a bunch of big tech names. So we have Microsoft and we have Alphabet on Tuesday, we have Meta on Wednesday, and we have Amazon on Thursday. All of these stocks, given how gigantic they are with the massive 500 billion plus market caps and their huge weighting on the NASDAQ, can potentially either boost crypto or take it down as well, because you guys know, usually Bitcoin and crypto tends to follow the NASDAQ. As the NASDAQ goes up, crypto tends to go up, and as the NASDAQ comes down, crypto tends to come down as well. And what you have here is some of the biggest companies in the entire NASDAQ reporting, and that could potentially endanger, if they're bad, that could endanger this support level here, this 27K. If they report very poorly, then we could wind up seeing a huge sell-off, and that would actually wind up taking us lower from this level. We'd wind up going to the next leg lower, probably somewhere down here at about 25K is what we'd be looking at for the next level of support. Now, the way I'm looking at this whole thing is if we wind up getting really bad tech earnings for the week, or somewhat bad tech earnings, and we get a little bit of a sell-off, for me personally, that's a buying opportunity, and I'm definitely interested in buying Bitcoin, especially as we come here closer to 25K. So the short-term uptrend will be completely destroyed, right? But the overall long-term uptrend that we've seen in the past couple of months will still be intact. Even if Bitcoin comes back down to the 25K level, we could still see that we'd have a series of higher lows, and the overall uptrend would still be intact. So at that point, I'm still interested in adding my position, and if we did get a drop down to 25K, that is where I would start looking personally. Now, this is very possible that we wind up actually getting stronger than expected tech earnings, and if that's the case, then it can come back up here and potentially retest this now resistance of 29K. I'm going to go ahead and change this to resistance. So this is resistance line now at 29K. So that's entirely possible. We could wind up seeing a very strong earnings, and it could bounce off this level and come up and challenge resistance at 29K again, if that is the case. And In addition to that, we also have some huge economic reports going on this week. I have MarketWatch's economic calendar up here. We have both the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which will give us an idea of how expensive housing prices are getting. We also have consumer confidence as well. And Thursday is the big one where we have GDP numbers. Now, this always has a chance of either surprising to the upside or disappointing to the downside. And GDP numbers are what people are going to be paying attention to heavily because traditionally speaking, if you wind up getting negative GDP quarters, then people are going to start to say, okay, we get one negative GDP quarter and then we get to two, and then that is potentially speaking a recession. So that's what they're looking at in order to confirm or give us a better idea if we're heading into a recession, is these negative GDP prints. All right, and then Friday, also incredibly important, is that we get the core PCE index, and especially the year-over-year number. That's what people are going to be looking at. Now, this PCE, personal consumption expenditures, is one of the Fed's favorite metrics for determining inflation. So if this core PCE comes in and it's lower than expected, we could wind up also seeing a rally as well on Friday. So these are really, really, really important. And the Fed likes to look at core PCE and PCE and make a determination. If this comes in lower, then they won't have to raise rates as much, right? And then if that's the case, then we could even be talking about a rate pause very shortly if we see good data coming out of the PCE. So we have huge events this week, massive events this week that could move Bitcoin, that could move the crypto markets. That's something to always keep aware of. Now, when it comes to the what we've seen so far for Bitcoin, if we go here to the exchange reserve, what we're seeing with the activity for investors and traders is that they're actually starting to sell a little bit more. And we've seen the sales kind of accelerate as the Bitcoin has gone down. That's kind of what you would expect as Bitcoin has moved from that 30,000 level now down to about 27.5. We've seen a large number of coins enter the exchange. So there is some significant selling going on right now, and especially with what I talked about previously with the miners. Miners have been selling into a lot of the strength. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at our Bitcoin liquidations or our total crypto liquidations for the last 4 or 5 days have been fairly large, especially when on the long side. So we had previously on the 18th of April, $262 million worth of crypto longs completely wiped out. And then the next day we had $112 million of crypto longs wiped out. And then the next day we had $173 million of crypto longs wiped out. In this 3-day period, we've just seen a complete and total bloodshed here when it comes to the long liquidations. And that's another reason why the Bitcoin price has fallen so low, is because just everything has been downtrending. If we look at Bitcoin in general, we can also see something very similar happen. Bitcoin 51.98 million, 45.65 million, and 55.55 million. So some significant long liquidations happening here. Over almost $150 million of Bitcoin long liquidations over these 3 days. And if we actually take a look at our, I want to go ahead and point out our NVT Golden Cross. NVT Golden Cross gives us an idea of the local tops and local bottoms for Bitcoin. And now what we're seeing is it's actually starting to tick back up again. So that means we're heading into the red zone. And as we approach the red zone, we could potentially get a topping pattern. This is something I'm going to be watching out for closely. And it seemed like it was pretty accurate last time we looked at this, because it showed us that we went into the red zone here, and then we came back down again. And you can see that also correspond here to the price, where the price went up and it peaked at about 30,300, and then it came all the way down here to about 27K. So we've seen that this has actually been fairly accurate so far. And I also want to go ahead and take a look at the SOPR levels. So SOPR, right, spent output profit ratio, gives us an idea of the profit ratio of these sellers. And what you're seeing here right now is it's at 0.99, and we generally like to see it above 1. Above 1 means they're selling in profit. Right now, it looks like we're kind of on the border of profitability right now for Bitcoin. So we need to wind up seeing it hold above this 1 level in order to confirm that we are in a bull market. Lastly, I want to go ahead and talk about the addresses with greater than 1 Bitcoin balance. Last time we checked this, we're at about like 980,000, and now we're back up to 993,000 addresses that have at least 1 Bitcoin, and that is amazing. We are so close to 1 million addresses with at least 1 Bitcoin, and I think we're going to wind up getting there within the next, say, month, 2 months, and that'll truly be an impressive milestone where the distribution of Bitcoin around various addresses shows us that it's not being concentrated so heavily into a couple of active wallets. And I think that that's really important for the ecosystem. So we're going to probably wind up getting there within the next month or two. So we're going to also go ahead and talk about Ethereum, or Ethereum chart TA. Ethereum also has had a couple of rough days here, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this resistance line. Now, again, we have resistance here at 1983 at about 2,000. That's going to become heavy resistance for Bitcoin, or for Ethereum, coming back up again. Right now, it's found support at about 1850. Okay, so if we get some strong tech earnings, we could definitely see it push above this 2K level and head back above to where it was, about 2100. However, if we get weaker tech earnings than expected, then we can wind up seeing it come all the way down here to about 17, I would say about 1800, and then from there 1750. I'd just go in increments of 50 for Ethereum, because it does tend to follow those increments of 50 for strong support levels. And then below that, what you're looking at is 1700. Now, if Ethereum comes back down to 1700, that is a level in which I would be very excited to consider buying. That's a level that I'd be looking at. And again, that does not jeopardize the uptrend for Ethereum whatsoever. You'd still have a series of higher lows. Now, with Binance Coin, also a very similar story. Again, I'm going to get rid of this resistance point here. But now what we're seeing here with Binance Coin is that the newest resistance level seems to be here at about 333. We've seen in the past that this level has been heavy resistance for Binance Coin, and now it seems like it's back to being kind of the boogeyman for Binance Coin here, this 333 level. And it's had a really hard time just staying above this level. Current support right now is at about 316, and then below that, I would expect at about 300 would be strong support for your Binance Coin. All right, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know if you guys like this content, and let me know if you guys have a different take on the market, or you want me to look at different charts, or you want me to go ahead and talk about some different event that's going on. Definitely interested in hearing about your opinion. This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and I hope to catch you guys on the next video.